This what we do, bruh. We wrap these niggas up. They come up on the block, we tell these niggas they gotta go. You don't play with them, time to go, nigga. Time to fucking go. Time to fucking go. Not pushing that dumb shit over here. Yup, pack your shit. Come on. Pack your shit. Pack your shit. Pack your shit. Ayo, ayo.
Let me go.
We good. We don't want this. That's what we don't want.
Hey yo, why you coming over here with that bullshit, nigga? But why you came over here with that bullshit? Yeah, why you came over here with that bullshit, nigga? Why you coming over here with that bullshit?
Calm down.
I got you on camera, nigga. I got you on camera with that bullshit. Why you came over here with that bullshit? Why you came over here with that bullshit, nigga? He told you gotta go, nigga. You ain't here for that, but your man just put hands on him. Your man's ran over here and put hands on him for no reason. You dumb as hell. You dumb as hell, nigga. You dumb as hell, nigga. You don't know what the fuck is going on and you ran over here. Why you put hands on the man, bro? Why you put hands on that man? He ain't do nothing to you, nigga. He ain't do nothing to you. You put hands on him. You dumb as fuck. You live in the flesh, nigga. Nah. Just know God watching, nigga. God watching, nigga. That was dumb as hell. I'm on your mans, bro. Y'all cool, but fuck that nigga. Fuck that.
You better watch him.
Fuck that shit. Nigga ran over and pushed the man from behind. That's some weak shit, bro. That's some weak shit. Nigga, this his story. He told you to leave. Go. Done as hell.
Trying to leave.
So go.
And that 100 on my dead mama, nigga.
Fucking Asians.
Come on,
y'all are.
We the police.
Come on.
This wouldn't even happen. But go ahead, hold me.
They ain't teaching nobody. Fuck this shit.
Y'all don't even talk about the throne David was in here.
Y'all need to do y'all due diligence on the throne of David.
Get the fuck on.
Them niggas don't even know about the
Get the
throne,
fuck
man.
on.
They
Bitch,
don't.
shut
Fuck
up.
them niggas.
Fuck is you talking about?
Them niggas don't even know about the
That
throne.
nigga ran up out of nowhere, pushed the man from behind. Got you on camera, nigga.
I bet Norwood got trying to fuck up out here. Get the fuck on. Fucking Asians. Asians. Y'all ain't shit. I ain't preaching shit. I ain't talking about shit because y'all ain't about shit. Get the fuck on. Get the fuck on. Get the fuck on and fuck you in your white motherfucker.
Can't kill A when they got
Get the fuck on. Get the fuck.
What happened to
Don't hit me, bro. Don't hit me.
come back to our God.
What's your name, man?
We must admit. Because the blood comes through his skin.
Why do y'all hate white people so much?
The so-called white man.
The Bible says this. It says if you hate someone, you've already committed murder in your heart.
But this coon don't want to talk about that.
I'm a coon. Why am I a coon? Why am I a coon?
You don't want to help your people like the Bible says. He damn dummy and age information.
I'm a dummy.
You can go on Google and Google any damn thing. Them coons make me tired, man.
Coons make you tired?
Yeah, man. I'm cool. Bring it out.
Why are you out here
He said he hates them. Why?
Hating
Because
white
all
people.
the destruction that he's done.
making
to
fun of white people?
Back up.
Calling them rednecks.
Back up. If you don't wake up, it's coming to your ass, bro. It's coming to you, bro.
It's coming to me?
It's coming.
What's
And
coming to
that's
me?
Bible.
What's coming to me?
His boy back here. Billy. All you care about is Billy Bob.
His name is Tony. Tony.
That's it. Tony. He's of Babylon. The nigga was under the city.
See, he can't even talk without saying the N-word.
So the Bible tell you right there.
So they
bro.
hate white people. They called you a redneck.
Ain't nothing been
They called me a coon.
like what's been done to you blacks and Hispanics.
I think it's just crazy.
All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakwadash, giving double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. It's coming back with another lesson. As we see, IUIC, they love being in the hood. Me and a brother was on the way to camp. Probably, about a month ago, we saw him posted up at the liquor store on Bankhead, and if brothers know anything about, Atlanta, they know what type of area that is, man. So when you put yourself in these situations or put yourself in these positions, you end up in these type of situations. Of course, you got bug outs. They come up to the camp, and try to cause trouble. But, if you're putting yourself in those type of environments, the chances of it happening, go through the roof, man, because of the people that's around, and then you got to think to yourself, man, what kind of fruit could possibly be coming out of this area, man. We all know those type of areas, man, for the most part. Brothers grew up around those type of situations. But, hey, man, we got to stay away from that. Not only is it unprofitable, it's also dangerous, man. These men, were pretty much ran off the block by some wild animals, man. They're preaching the word. Howbeit, they don't have 100% truth. But, they have some form of the truth. And they got ran off the block. And if you go to this guy's, Jace the Great, if you go to this particular page, you can see this dude is bugged out, as well as the other people that are in this. So let's go to the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4. And it says, preach the word. That's what we're instructed to do. Preach the word. So we'll just drop down to verse 2. It says, preach the word. Be instant in season and out of season, no matter what the weather is, cold, hot, perfect. We're instructed to preach the word. And it's a known fact that IUIC don't go out in the wintertime. So that in itself is going off. It says, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. Now, reproof, rebuke, and exhortation all take place on the highways and hedges, depending on who you're dealing with in person. But, as a whole, when the word is going out, all these things are taking place. You're rebuking, you're reproving, you're exhorting, via the videos we make. But, when you're in the hood or in a bad area, trying to preach the word, hey, man, you're taking a risk, you're taking a risk. And as soon as you say something that these people don't want to hear, it's going to go down, because we know these places are full of emotions. Jake, more than likely, drinking, on drugs. And as well, if you on the block, you making that block hot, so to speak, because 9 times out of 10, man, they're doing something illegal. And we know this, man. So whether you're doing a church blitz, I saw a video of them doing a church blitz not too long ago. Matter of fact, I think it was yesterday. They went to a church and had an altercation. So, it's not good to put yourself in these positions, man. Somebody gonna end up getting shot or hurt or stabbed or a major fight or something can break out, man.
Strong's G,
That's not what
5198,
we're just here to preach the
Hugiaino.
word,
Hugiaino.
So it says, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. What is sound doctrine? Let's see. Let's get this word. Let's go into the word sound. Sound.
Strong's G, 5198, Hugiaino.
Hugiaino in the Greek says to have sound health. That's not what we're talking about. Be well in body. Figuratively, to be uncorrupt, true in doctrine. That's what we're going into. True in being true in
Strong's G, 1319, Didaskalia.
being true in doctrine.
Didaskalia.
And that's one thing that IUIC is not true in doctrine. Let's see. Let's go Salakia. See this word doctrine, and it goes into teachings.
Strong's G, 1319, Didaskalia.
Instruction, doctrine, learning, teaching. So you want to have uncorrupt teachings. Sound doctrine. And we know IUIC don't. They preach the law. And when you coming at these people like that, a lot of these people take offense. We know that, the law is very important in what we do, but, it's ways of going about it, man. Especially if you're going to be in that type of environment, when you just leading off telling people, what they can wear, what they should be doing, coming at them like that. Of course Jake is going to get offended. Jake stay in their feelings, man. But the best thing to do is avoid those type of areas as a whole. It's not wise to be in that type of environment, man. Even when you're not teaching, you don't want to be in those type of environments, man. We see it every day, what happens, So let's go to the book of Titus. Chapter 2. And let's go to verse 7. It says, in all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works. In all things, showing thyself a pattern in good works. In doctrine, showing up uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned. When you going out there and you preaching the law, your doctrine really, really have holes in it, man. Because nobody is perfect in this flesh. You're going to get confounded, and then you're going to start talking loud and getting defensive, but as where if you just go out and preach the word and sound doctrine, you won't have these problems, man. Not as frequently. And then if you go and doing a church blitz, you asking for that trouble, man. You're provoking people. So you really have to make sure that the ministry is not blamed. If you're doing a church blitz and all of a sudden something happened, somebody, lose their life, or people lose their lives or get injured, they're going to point the finger at you, man. Because really, you don't even supposed to be, doing that, So, sound speech that cannot be condemned. So, first and foremost, you don't call on the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Secondly, you don't preach the MOTB as it is, as what it should be, which is the RFID microchip. So, you know, you're really going off, man. You know, is blatant attention seeking, man. But, you know, when you seek attention, oftentimes negativity comes with it. So it says that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. So stay away from these people, man. You know, especially when you don't have 100% truth. If you don't have 100% truth, you're going to constantly get preyed upon. And people going to find you out. You know, they're going to find you out that you pretty much full of it and you faking the funk. And also, it's a known fact that only certain people speak. You know, they're not instructed to do lessons as we are here at GMS. You know, and it's only for the better, man. You know, if you just standing around holding posts, holding a sign every week, or however often you go out, you know, where's the where's the learning, man? You know, where's the growing? You know, hey, man, the water for our leadership, you know, that instructs us not to be in those type places, as well as, you know, being diligent, you know, doing the work of a prophet, you know, being as a scholar, you know, the Church of Berea. So, as a matter of fact, let's see, if you go even more into this video, you can see Jake is outside of a Planned Parenthood, man. If I could see that. Let's see. So like it might not play. All right, you don't want to play. So Jake is I can't find it, but I think this is it coming up. All right, it don't want to play. But if you watch the video in this particular scene or whatnot, Jake, IUIC is outside of a Planned Parenthood, you know, abortion clinic, preaching the word, man. You know, those people already had their mind made up on what they're going to do. You know, and if, you know, as far as I know, most of those Planned Parenthood places are placed in the hood, man. You know, not in most cases, the worst part of the hood. So, you know, you just gotta be a lot smarter about it, man. But it all boils down to the leadership. You know, that's what it is, man. You know, they're being instructed to go to these places. So let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 10. You know, because this is what we're about here at GMS. Prophecy, man. You know, we're not here to get likes. We're not here to get views. We're not here to be the most popular. We're not here to be, you know, loved or controversial in the sense of publicity. No. We're just here to preach the word, man. But this book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 10, and this is John the Revelator, you know, having an encounter with the angel. And it says, and I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So this is the spirit that we're coming in, the spirit of prophecy. And we're calling on our Lord Yahushua. We're calling on Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. You know, And these guys they don't call the name. You know, they don't profess the name. Matter of fact, they're against it. You know. So that's another reason why they have so many problems, man. The Lord is really not dealing with them on that level. You know. So once they start coming in the spirit of prophecy, keeping uncorrupt doctrine, uncorrupt teachings, you know, things may change. You know, they may see the light. Stay out of those areas. Stop doing those church blitzes, you know, which is really of no value, man. You know, those people already have their minds made up. And we know we're only searching for the elect, man, you know. And so it don't matter if you in a alleyway, you know, if the person is of the elect, he gonna find you, you know. So you don't have to try to seek attention in this truth. You're gonna get attention, you know. Just be patient. It's gonna come, man. And it may not be the attention that you want. So let's continue on. Matter of fact, let's just go here. Let's see. Let's go Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Ecclesiasticus chapter 39. We'll start, verse 1. It says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof," which they, you know, are giving their mind to the law, and that's it. You know, that's it. You know, when they try to go into prophecy, you know, a lot of the time they're going off, man. So it says, "Will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies." So, you know, it seems as if the leadership have really, you know, gotten away from the doctrines that they learned previously, you know, and started making up their own doctrines, you know. And it's not working out too well, man. You know, the brothers, you know, we went into it last night, did a lesson, you know, going into the MOTB, you know, and going into stigma, you know, which is going into having an incision, you know, and this is in the book of Revelation chapter 13, man. So it all links, you know. It's not a spiritual mark, man. It's definitely physical. So if you're not 100% occupied in prophecy, then you're going off. You know, you're going to have confrontations. You're going to have people running up on you, cussing you out, running you up out the hood, you know. But